Hey, okay, girls and guys, I want to talk to you about something today. And I'd love you to approach this with curiosity, because curiosity is like my favorite thing ever to be able to do and approach things with when I'm trying to unpick something. And I want you to do that with me today. So stay with me. Well, I literally just want to talk to you about, there's a post that I did on my social media, on my Instagram account. And it's about all the little bits that we consume in a day and the little nibbles, the little bites, little licks, little sips that we put into our mouth. And I just wonder, like, if I said to you, do you reckon you could name everything that you ate today? Like everything that you put in your mouth, could you actually remember what it was? Because I know I would struggle with that. I think that's my age, but that's another subject altogether. So stay with me. Like, I think that I think we're at different stages of this. I think sometimes we're aware that we're doing it, that we're nibbling and we're snacking on stuff, on these teeny tiny little bits of things like biscuits, crisps, chocolates, handfuls of cereals, whatever it is, whatever your thing is. And I think you either know that you're doing that, or there's some of you out there that don't actually even have the awareness that you're doing that. And I think that because it is, and especially if you're trying to lose weight, like, or be more healthful with your behaviors, like this is obviously like a bit of a roadblock, because it's probably stopping you from losing weight, or it's making you gain weight. And because I honestly think that because you think that you're not consuming a lot, because it's just grabs of bits here, there and everywhere, it makes you think like, oh my God, well, I'm not eating loads, so why am I not seeing this weight shift? Or why am I all of a sudden, are my bloody trousers getting tight on me again? And like, I think that, I know that if that's generally why you're gaining weight or you're not losing it, it's usually these little bits that are coming into play. So let's just, again, open this with a little bit of curiosity around, okay, maybe she's got a point here. Maybe I am doing this stuff, especially if you're doing everything else. You're checking off like your movement, your sleep, you're kind of like being really on point with other parts. But there's this little bit that's just like, why am I not seeing it shift? So if you think about the little bites, the little handfuls, the licks, and I know that sometimes we tell ourselves that, do you know what, that's not going to matter. Like, that's just not, it's the smallest amount, so it's not going to make a big impact. It was just that little bit. But that little bit would be fine if it was, oh my gosh, I shoved one little bit of cereal into my mouth. But when that turns into 4 or 5 handfuls of that whilst you're sorting supper out, or you've rushed in from being outside and you've got to go back out again with the kids for their rugby or sports clubs or whatever it is, and you're grabbing a biscuit or two, and then you're going to get a coffee while you're out as well, and then you might come back in and it's time to like have your actual supper, and you've still managed to maybe pick up another couple of, I don't know, you pick leftovers from whoever's eaten their dinner and left it out, and all of those little things, they're going to add up to quite a bit. And you won't even have registered that you have done that because they're so insignificant, because they're not big bits of anything. And like when people are like saying, oh, just be more mindful around what you're doing and what you're eating, be more intentional with it. I think that's really hard to do if you haven't even quite noticed that these little things are happening in your day, because like I said, they're so insignificant. You might not have even noticed it was happening. So I want to share this with you then. I suppose it's a behaviour perspective, and it's a little bit like educationally, but stay with me, because after this I'm going to give you something to implement and do. So when you eat something small, so you grab whatever handful it was while you were cooking your dinner, or you're stressed and you're like going back and forth to the fridge, and maybe you're just picking up on, I don't know, raw carrot sticks, baby bells, pepperonis, whatever it is, and you're rushing out the door, and there you got to grab whatever, the biscuit tin is right there, I'm just going to grab one of them, that'll be fine. Because in your head, you're probably like, I haven't eaten much today, I had a salad for lunchtime, you probably skipped breakfast, so this is all going to be fine. I want you to like think, right, obviously, and I'm not saying this to like, this happens to everybody, like this is such a common thing, but I want you to think about that for a split second, when you are in those moments, like I said, it's happening, it's really hard to catch yourself. But what I want you to think about doing is that, like, The reason you're not registering is because your brain hasn't had a chance to actually take on board that you've eaten anything, because it's been in such a quick succession. And then you're also telling yourself, I haven't eaten much because I've had a salad for lunch and I didn't have breakfast. Like, so this is all going to be fine. I literally cannot be adding up many calories here. And so your brain isn't catching up, and your tummy certainly hasn't registered that you've eaten at all. And you're not even feeling full on it anyway. And by the end of the day, you're so tired, even if you were logging your food, you probably will have forgotten that you've done those little bits, because it was quick. It was just happening in the moment. And there's this disconnect between when our brains kind of like say, oh gosh, I've hardly eaten anything. It's because it hasn't registered that you've done it. And it was literally like a split second. And I've said that about a million times now. So I'm saying it again because I want you to listen to it and remember it. So if this is happening a few times a week, you're going to understand, you can start to say, well, those calories that you are consuming in those flash of a pan moments, they will all have added up. And sometimes they can add up to, like, you could rack up 500, 600, 700 calories easily without even knowing it. Like 2 coffees, maybe a custard cream, a handful of cereal 3 or 4 times, whatever. That's about 500 calories before you've even had your main meals of the day and any drinks you might have consumed outside of that. So it adds up, and you will be out of that deficit before you know it. And like I said, if that's happening weekdays, a few times a week, you're not going to be in a deficit. And then you're getting frustrated and you're pissed off and you're thinking something else is going on and things aren't right, so you better go and order that supplement that's going to now help you magically drop fat or whatever it is. But in reality, it's these moments that are tripping you up. And what I want to help you do, this is where the implementation part comes into it, is I want you, and I'd love you to try this. And it's really simple, but over the next few days, and you're going to remember this now because you will have watched this, you're going to have me in your head and you'll be like, oh my gosh, she said I was going to do this. So when you catch yourself in those moments, and like I said, now I brought it to your attention, it will be more like, oh my gosh, I'm doing it. That girl on the internet, she told me this is going to happen. And I'm going to remember that she's in my head now saying, oh, do you remember when this happened? I want you to literally, it's the most simplest thing, pause. Right? And I know you might have heard this a million times before, but have you actually done it? This time, I want you to pause. I want you to, even if it is mid-bite on the leftover toast, or like you've had 2 handfuls of cereal and you're like going in for the third, and you're like, oh my God, that girl Beck, she told me, I'm going to remember I'm doing this. I'm going to register it. Stop. Put the food down. Put your hand back in the cereal bowl and pack it and let it all go. And what I want you to do is just pause. Just take a hot second, okay? And ask yourself, am I eating this because I am choosing to eat it? Or am I eating it because it's an autopilot response to something that's been going on in my day? And that's literally all I want you to do. So am I choosing to eat this because it's a choice I'm making? Or am I doing this on autopilot? If it's a choice you want to make, it's up to you whether you decide to carry on making that choice. If it's on autopilot, stop, put the thing down. And if you're mid-bite and even though you're choosing to do it, you might also then decide this isn't a choice I actually want to be making because it isn't going to benefit me. Put it down, put the food in the bin, whatever it is, just stop doing it and take that moment and walk away. And like I said, it's something that you need to practice and do, because don't get me wrong, I am a sucker for taking in all the information but not actually implementing it. But this time I would really, really, really love you to implement the pause and putting the food down and see what happens. See if you can start figuring out, like, oh my gosh, how many times a day do I actually do that? And watch what happens if you stop that and you're like, oh, okay, might start seeing some changes now, you know? And you'll be retraining your mind to do something different as well, and creating a better and a new habit. So yeah, I am going to leave that there because I have talked to you for long enough, I'm sure. But I would really, really, really love if anyone wants to comment on this and say, I tried this, it was really good, or I like this, or if you want to get in touch with me on Instagram and DM me and just have a chat with me about all of this stuff, like, yeah, get in touch, because one of my big things is that I like to get to know people and I'm here for chats. So yeah, let me know and I'll speak to you on the next one.